Welcome to episode 46 of Priviso Live, your trusted source for all things ICT legislation, cyber and information security news from the heart of South Africa. I'm Lynn, and with me are our regulars, Stephen and John. Guys, we've had a hectic week.
Absolutely. You'd think cyber criminals might take a winter break, but no, the attacks keep coming.
And not just on random companies. This week, we saw multiple high-profile South African institutions compromised, legal history being made, and AI misbehaving.
The news of the week, then. On July 30th, Palo Alto Networks unveiled plans to acquire CyberArk in a cash and stock transaction valued at about $25 billion, its largest such deal ever. The move provides Palo Alto with CyberArk's strengths in privileged access management, PAM, SSO, MFA, and machine identity security, integrated into its Strata and Cortex platforms.
CEO Nikisha Arora emphasized the identity space is at a key inflection point, especially with the surge of AI agents and machine identities. He called out what he described as the IAM fallacy, meaning the assumption that legacy IAM tools alone adequately secure identities in an AI era. The suggestion? Modern security demands not just traditional IAM, but privileged and fine-grained privilege management for every identity.
So does this remark signal a broader shift? The deal certainly underscores a growing consensus that identity is no longer a siloed hygiene tool. It's a security foundation. As Forrester and other analysts note, securing both human and machine identities with just-in-time least privilege controls is becoming essential. The risk environment has evolved. Credential theft, AI misuse, insider threats. Legacy IAM alone can't keep up.
But could the industry pivot wholesale? Beyond consolidation, Palo Alto acquiring CyberArk, Google acquiring Wiz, mergers among IAM first players, there's a deeper narrative. Identity must now be platform native, embedded into security operations, detection, response, and risk analytics. The IAM fallacy phrase is a marker of that mindset shift.
In short, Palo Alto's acquisition is not just another M&A scorecard headline. The IAM fallacy line conveys a manifesto. Identity must be privilege-centric, contextual, dynamic. This deal advances what may be the next architectural wave in cybersecurity. Platforms built around identity, not bolted onto it.
Another week, another compromise. And once again, Microsoft's software ecosystem is at the center of a breach. According to My Broadband, South Africa's Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation has fallen victim to a security incident linked to vulnerabilities in Microsoft services.
What we know is that unauthorized access was gained via compromised Microsoft credentials.
It raises a glaring issue: identity management. These attacks are not brute force hacks. They're exploiting tokens, misconfigurations, and weak authentication baked into legacy or poorly managed Microsoft environments.
Microsoft has already been under scrutiny in the US for allowing foreign actors, including Russian and Chinese groups, to abuse its OAuth tokens and authentication architecture. If they're failing to secure federal-level infrastructure, what chance do local departments in South Africa have?
Exactly. We're seeing the cascade effect of supply chain risk. One weak link, like a mismanaged Microsoft tenant, and the whole network is exposed.
This should be a wake-up call. Agencies relying on Microsoft for everything from email to identity need to review their zero-trust posture, patch aggressively, and consider alternatives for critical services.
And let's not forget the human element. If users are still reusing passwords or not utilizing multi-factor authentication, well, that's not just on Microsoft, that's on us as practitioners.
Absolutely. Microsoft might be the battlefield, but poor governance is the chink in the armor.
And just when you think it can't get worse, SABC gets hacked days later. Systems disrupted, critical comms affected. You'd expect a public broadcaster to have some redundancy, right?
Clearly not enough. Both cases highlight a deeper issue: public sector underinvestment in cybersecurity and a growing dependency on cloud platforms without proper risk controls.
Shifting gears, let's talk about AI's growing curiosity. Security Week's latest article explores what happens when AI systems autonomously explore networks and potentially exfiltrate data without being explicitly programmed to do so.
So here's a chilling concept. What if your AI doesn't get hacked, but starts exploring on its own?
That's precisely what Security Week is warning us about. We're entering the era of agentic AI systems that take initiative, not malicious by design, but curious. Like asking, what happens if I scan this server or pull this file?
And suddenly it's exfiltrating sensitive data, not because someone told it to, but because it thinks it's being helpful.
Which raises the question, how do you secure an AI that doesn't follow rules but learns its own?
It means traditional controls, access lists, DLP, firewalls, may be bypassed by the very AI you're relying on.
Exactly. You're not just managing risk anymore, you're managing intention. And when intention is emergent, that's a whole new class of threat. Agentic AI doesn't wait for permission, it acts.
That changes everything, because now you're not only defending against hackers, you're defending against systems that behave like hackers by accident. But it's not all tech. Let's talk legal wins. A landmark ruling by the Johannesburg High Court affirms that citizens may record and question police without fear of arrest.
This is big not only for transparency, but for how tech like smartphones and cloud storage support civil liberties.
It reinforces the right to information, freedom of expression, and, importantly, accountability.
And ending the news section on a high note, South Africa is making waves at Google AI. Dr. Jason Mars, a Durban-born AI researcher, is helping lead next-gen AI systems. Born in Durban, Jason moved to the US with his family at a young age, but his academic journey has been in Northern Virginia, where he focused on high-performance systems and AI-driven applications.
He went on to teach at the University of Michigan, where he co-founded Clink, a startup pioneering conversational AI. Think Siri, but far more intelligent and context-aware. That startup was valued at over $100 million before he transitioned to work with Google.
At Google, Jason leads AI systems that underpin massive services, not just voice or search, but enterprise-scale neural networks that power tools millions use every day. He's primarily focused on AI performance optimization, which makes real-time applications faster, more accurate, and more accessible.
What's inspiring is that Jason's never forgotten his South African roots. He often speaks about democratizing AI and creating inclusive systems that empower people in the global South.
He's also vocal about the ethical implications of AI, how bias creeps in, and how researchers need to take responsibility not just for building systems, but for ensuring they do not harm.
So whether it's Johannesburg or Mountain View, South Africans are in the room shaping the future. And that's something to be proud of.
I'd be impressed if he can stop the flood of AI-generated images filling my X timeline.
And they post the same images over and over, don't they? You know there's a term for it, right? It's known as AI slop, created specifically for the lowest common intelligence denominator on TikTok.
If I don't see another talking gorilla forever, it will be too soon.
Now, let's shift gears to something foundational to cybersecurity, MITRE.
MITRE was established in 1958 during the Cold War, initially to assist the U.S. Air Force with command and control systems. Over the decades, it's become one of the world's most trusted research organizations in cybersecurity, defense, and public interest technology.
Think of MITRE as the engine behind threat intel standardization. It doesn't make products, it creates frameworks.
One of their most impactful contributions, the MITRE Attack Framework. It maps real-world attacker behaviors, tactics, techniques, and procedures into an open knowledge base.
It's used by SOC teams, red teams, vendors, even governments to simulate, detect, and mitigate threats more effectively.
It turned cybersecurity from whack-a-mole into chess, strategy-driven, not guesswork.
Let's not forget, MITRE also manages the Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures CVE system. It assigns the CVE IDs we all reference.
When you hear CVE 2024-1234, that structure and database come from MITRE. It helps unify patching, vendor alerts, and incident response.
Here's the catch. There's talk in Washington about defunding MITRE programs. Budget cuts, political priorities, red tape.
That would be a mistake. MITRE is one of the few neutral, science-based institutions holding the cybersecurity ecosystem together.
Without MITRE's frameworks, you lose visibility, coordination, and frankly, trust.
From local rulings on civil rights to global frameworks defending digital infrastructure, this week has reminded us that security is not just technical, it's political, social, and deeply human.
And it's also local. What happens in Johannesburg matters just as much as what happens in Washington.
We'll be keeping an eye on it all so you don't have to.
That's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in to Priviso Live. If you found this episode valuable, please share it, and we'll see you next week. If you want to hear more of the same, subscribe to Priviso Live on Apple, Samsung, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or YouTube.
And if you need security, risk, or ICT legislation advice, contact Priviso directly at admin@priviso.co.za.
Until next time, stay
Stay
safe.
safe, everyone.
Stay safe.